Hey, welcome back to the podcast, Evil Dungeon Master Universe Podcast. I am your host, Vince. Hopefully you're doing well. It's middle of the week. It's Wednesday, and we got another podcast today. Podcast doing well. Thank you for those that have been rating it and downloading it. I appreciate it. Those that are listening and commenting. Those especially that are commenting on Spotify, I appreciate that. All those comments do help on Spotify. Makes them recognize that the podcast is being downloaded on the Spotify platform, so it will help promote it that way. So I appreciate. So a shout out to Mountain, who's been going there and replying, or I should say commenting. So I appreciate that, Mountain. Thank you very much. Continue that, and hopefully other people will pick up the trend and reply as well and respond too. I love all that. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address, and theevildm.com is my website where you can sign up for a newsletter. Comes straight to your box. You don't have to go anywhere. It just tells you everything I'm doing. I like it. A lot of people have really liked it, and they're signing up for it. Getting closer to 200, almost 300 now, if I'm looking at the number of people signing up now that they've noticed that I've changed websites. Anyway, let's head on to today's topic. Today's topic is going to be going to the player's handbook. It's a 7th level cleric spell, Restoration. It's pretty common. No, I shouldn't say pretty common, but a spell that everyone's familiar with, I should say. And it's a 7th level spell, so you have to be 16th level to at least cast this spell. So I don't see many player characters being able to cast this spell because I don't think I've seen many campaigns go above 5th or 6th level. As I said, I'm sure there's some out there, and don't start berating me with comments about how there is tons of them. I don't know any, and I've never experienced any, so that's just my experience. Generally, most people just kind of fuzz out or fizzle out after about 5th, 6th, 7th level, and then we're done. I don't think I've ever had a character go that high. We've skipped around, going from high level to low level to immortal campaigns, but never a straight through campaign. I don't know, the groups I've ever played with probably had, as I call ADH gaming. Have to play this, then want to play this, then want to play this, and scratch that itch. But anyway, Restoration is a necromantic reversible spell. 7th level, touch, permanent. Creature touch is the area of effect. Opponents is verbal semantic, which is weird. It doesn't have a component to it, but 3 rounds. Saving throw none. That's very important there, right? Saving throw none, and range is touch. So that's going to come into play when we read a little of this. It's a little bit worded. I can't speak. It's worded a little bit weirdly, and we'll get to that. When this spell is cast, the life energy of the recipient's creature is raised upward by 1. This assumes previous life energy drain of the creature by some force or monster. Thus, a 10th level character has been struck by a wight and drained to 9th level. The restoration spell would bring the character up to exactly the number of experience points necessary to restore him or her back to 10th level once again, and restoring additional hit dice or hit points and level functions accordingly. Restoration, and here's where most people get this really confused because the way this is worded, because they kind of forgot a wording here. Restoration is only effective if the spell is cast within 1 day per level of experience of the cleric casting the recipient's loss of life energy. We'll go over that in a minute. The reverse, energy drain, draws away the life energy, such as undead, spectre, blah, blah, blah. The energy drain requires the victim to be touched. A restoration spell will restore the intelligence of a creature affected by a feeble mind spell. Now, let's just peek at the Dungeon Master's Guide real quick, because there's a couple things in here. First things first, on page 13, under Unnatural Aging, the caster ages by 2 years every time he casts the spell. So we have that right off the bat. And if we flip to page 43, under our little peek of the spells, because this was written afterwards. So, Restoration. This spell will cure any and all forms of insanity. So there's an additional little footnote to that. But that's all it really says in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Looking back at the spell now, all right, so the line, Restoration is only effective if the spell is cast within 1 day level of experience of the cleric casting it of the recipient's loss of life energy. So what they really should be saying is restoration is only effective if the spell is cast within 1 day of the recipient's loss of life energy per experience level of the priest casting it. So thus, if a 16th level cleric minimum to cast this spell, you have 16 days to figure out a way to get to him so you can basically get your level restored. That's really it. That's all it really says there. But a lot of people read that and they're just like, what? The cost for this spell in here is 10,000 gold pieces. If you were going to charge, obviously they probably will. 10,000 gold pieces plus 10,000 gold pieces for every level the person receiving the spell has obtained. Thus, to restore, say, like a 4th level thief back to a 5th level thief, or cure like a insanity or something, it would be 50,000 gold pieces total, which would be 10,000 for the base of the spell itself, and then each level would be 10,000 apiece, giving you 40,000, thus give you a 50,000. That's how that's read. It's a little confusing as well in the DMG how it's written, but that's how it works. Now, you may interpret that a different way yourself, and by all means, it's your game, so go for it. But it's read as 10,000 plus 10,000 for every level that you're restoring towards. So, kind of expensive for a spell that really doesn't, well, I shouldn't say it really doesn't do much because it does age the person by 2 years every time they cast it. So, there's that. Now, the other thing here that some people have pointed out in my games that they don't think about, but it says restoration, saving throw none. So reversing it, saving throw none. But that's true. There is no saving throw, but range is touched, which means you have to make a successful 2-hit touch to an unwilling target. Now, a willing target, you don't have to make a roll because they're just like, yeah, go ahead. You can lay a hand on me to do this. An unwilling target is going to move around, so you have to be able to touch that target. So there's a 2-hit roll that needs to be made when doing this. Yeah, that's really the spell itself in a nutshell. And those are a couple things that I wanted to get across because sometimes people confuse these things, and I've seen it in campaigns when it comes to players arguing with a DM when they try to get a restoration from an NPC cleric, and the DM's like, well, and then this, and then they think it's this, and then, So there it is. Tell me what you think in the comments of this spell, how you interpret it. It's 7th level spell. It's on page 53 of the player's handbook. You need to be 16th level to cast this spell. But there's no material, which I really find odd that there's no material component to this spell whatsoever. Not even a holy symbol or anything. So it's just verbal and semantic. That's it. With that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original. Keep it old school. Good night. God bless. Keep those AD&D fires lit. Good night, everybody.